要女的，我养了几十年的女，现在要是对待我，东西给我搬出来。
The elderly couple spent money and effort to help their son-in-law build a new house, and they also helped take care of the child for a full 7 years. Now they have been kicked out of the house by their daughter and son-in-law. Not only were all of their furniture thrown out, but everything that could be smashed was smashed. With no other choice, the elderly couple called in a mediator to seek justice. Over the past 7 years, they have been living here. This was the new house they built for their daughter and son-in-law back then. At that time, their daughter had just given them a grandchild, but their life was difficult, so they asked the elderly couple to move in and help take care of the child. When building this new house, the son-in-law provided some materials. Because he promised to take care of the two of them in old age, the elderly couple took out the savings that were originally meant for their retirement, and the labor to build the house afterward was also all provided by the elderly couple. After that, the living expenses for their daughter's household for several years were also paid by the elderly couple.
我为了他家，我全心还有付出。妈妈给他修房子，女儿从8岁就开始给他养到7、8岁。
这个是哪个的房子嘛？
这个房子土地是女婿的，而这个房子就是现在你们看的1、2、3、4、5，是我们自己来跟他修的。而且在我们在这7年多当中，我们的吃的是他们3个人的，
生活费全是我们管，
用包括生儿的这个奶粉钱，都全是我们承担付出。
After 7 years of hard work, working day and night, they thought they could have a good place to settle down here, but they only went back to their hometown to take a look, and then they were suddenly kicked out of the house. At that time, they received a call from a neighbor saying their home had been smashed, and their things had been thrown out, which made the elderly couple think they had been robbed, so they hurried back home. As soon as they got home, they saw the furniture smashed to pieces, and the appliances smashed up, and the culprit was none other than their son-in-law and their in-laws.
砸的哇？
是我砸的，我亲家砸的。
当时因为啥子呢？是因为
就为几脚撵起走，喊他跑。
把他们两个
他两个全部跑。
And the reason they gave was that the elderly couple did not get a marriage certificate. 30 years ago, the elderly couple got together, their relationship was very good, but they never registered. When the old man divorced his ex-wife back then, because of some trivial matters they did not go to handle the divorce certificate, they only made a verbal agreement and split up the household, and now both of them have their own lives. After meeting the old lady, the two walked hand in hand for 30 years. As for the marriage certificate, the old lady did not care at all. She felt that since they had been together for 30 years, they did not need a piece of paper to prove their love. But this made the son-in-law feel very embarrassed, and then he said that he was willing to provide for the old lady, but your old man did not register for marriage, although in name he is your father-in-law, legally he is not. So he demanded that the old man leave this home on his own, and not force him to use force to kick them out. The elderly couple, furious, went out to accuse their daughter and son-in-law of being unfilial.
老祖就是说我的坏话，说我不信，说我不仁不义，说我不孝，说我是把交际他的女不认他妈，挑拨离间的关系，所有一切全部是我的坏话，把我所有认识的不认识的到处说了个遍。
The son-in-law's job is writing funeral eulogies. He may not care about other gossip, but he absolutely must maintain a good reputation for being filial, otherwise there will not be many people nearby who will hire him to write eulogies. And in the past few years, he used the fact that his wife's parents lived in his home as a way to present himself as a filial person. Now that the parents-in-law have come out to say he is unfilial, that is very bad for his reputation. And not long ago, they also had an argument. The old man knows feng shui, and once they visited the son-in-law's older sister's home as guests, the old man saw 2 stones in front of the door and felt they had a bad impact on feng shui. He thought it would be better if they were moved away. The son-in-law felt the old man was meddling too much, so a conflict happened.
有2个石头，他就去给我们姐姐说，他们姐姐帮告了，农村上信风水，那个几个石头是暂时不能动的，他非得要我就是跟我们姐姐讲死不了。
就是为了这个事，觉得你应该站到他这边。
哎，他就说是有人骑在他头上了，他死，然后就说我不关心他，然后有这个事情你要去跟我说法啊，我们这你这来了，我帮助你这么大，你还受气。他们曾经对我做出的所有东西要喊我做出补偿，然后老人我那是完全维护他，就是哪怕是他不对，都是维护他说话。
Later, the son-in-law took advantage of the elderly couple being out, and directly brought his own father and his wife, smashed the elderly couple's furniture, and threw out their luggage. At this time, the old lady saw her daughter's figure, and in anger she was about to step forward to accuse her. Facing the reporter's questions, the daughter confirmed that it was she who called the elderly couple over to help take care of the child.
他可能当时看到我们条件比较差嘛，再加上就是说，也可能就是说想扶持我们吧，想拉我们吧，实话实说，是我害的。
也喊他们过来了嘛，是帮他带小孩这些。
对。
So the daughter set a condition: as long as her mother cut ties with the old man, she could completely restore her reputation for being filial. But the old lady angrily cursed her daughter in public as an ungrateful white-eyed wolf. When the daughter was 10 years old, she had already gotten together with the old man. You could say the daughter was raised by the old man with his own hands. They only had this one child, and for so many years they never let her suffer even a little. They spoiled her with food, clothing, and everything she used. The daughter did not do well in school and said she did not want to study, and they still went along with her. The daughter fell in love with a man they did not approve of, and they still went along with her. After the daughter got married, she was unable to support the grandchild, so she called them over to help take care of the child, and they came. When the daughter and son-in-law wanted to build a house, they also took out their retirement savings, but in the end they fell into this kind of outcome.
在这住了几年，你也看了你儿是咋个对待我的，对不对？
对于
我来说，
对于你来说，你觉得不需要那个婚书来约束，是不是？
还是你说的就不是一张纸吗？况且我老在10岁的时候，我们两个在一起。
At the end of the program, the elderly couple told the production team that since this home does not welcome them, then they will not stay. These 7 years of effort, they will treat it as all being for their lovely grandchild. After saying that, the elderly couple was about to leave, and return to their hometown in Maishan to live.
By the time this matter reached the end, there was actually no need to argue about who was more right or more wrong. Because when a family can use smashing things and throwing out luggage to clear the elderly out of the house, that relationship itself is already over. Whether the law recognizes it or not, and whether the documents are complete or not, are only excuses used afterward to explain the behavior, not the root cause of what happened. The real problem is that this relationship was built on imbalance from the very beginning. The elderly couple kept giving, but gradually lost their boundaries. The daughter got used to receiving, but did not have the ability to bear the consequences, and the son-in-law valued control and face more than feelings. When conflict erupts, the first to be sacrificed is always the one with the weakest voice and the fewest ways out. This was not a sudden turn of face. It was a long-term drain with an outcome planted long ago. 7 years of giving did not bring respect, and did not bring a sense of security either. It only pushed them step by step into a position where they could be asked to leave at any time. At this point, it is no longer about who should or should not provide elder care. It is a reality. When giving has no boundaries and a relationship is left with only power, the ending is often not dignified. So, in this whole incident, who do you think is more at fault?